So ASAP Rocky has finally decided to release his long-awaited album, Don't Be Dumb. ASAP Rocky has honestly been a very interesting figure in hip-hop. He's been such an influential figure, stemming from his trilogy mixtape to the contributions that he did with the ASAP Mob and crew. I mean, they were just extremely influential in the cloud rap era and just hip-hop in general, in terms of their fashion, their style, their flows, their production. Everything about them is just so iconic during the 2010s. And it's very interesting to see that nowadays it seems that ASAP isn't really a thing anymore. I mean, yes, there are members who still carry the ASAP legacy and still do things for the crew. They started to disassociate themselves from the crew and they decided to just go into more solo territory, especially ASAP Ferg now being only called Ferg a couple of years back and just kind of branching out to his own solo stuff. And in terms of Rocky's legacy, if anything, he's been kind of on the low. He did drop Testing back in 2018, a couple of years after releasing the third and final installment of his trilogy era. And that album was actually received kind of mixed. I mean, there were people who praised it just because it was a new chapter in Rocky's life post that trilogy era. And there was a new sound and style. And of course, it had notable hits like, for example, Praise the Lord featuring Skepta that became a huge hit. And a lot of people's introduction to ASAP Rocky who just didn't know him. I mean, generally, it was a huge global smash hit. I remember when that song came out. In my personal opinion, I wasn't that blown away by Testing. It's an album that I can appreciate its attempt, especially Rocky's attempt to basically dive into something new, some new territory, a new chapter for him, try to branch himself off from his older sound, but it kind of feels all over the place. Regardless, Rocky would kind of be on and off in terms of dropping music. I believe in 2019 he dropped a one single called Babadusha. It was something like that. That was actually a pretty cool idea. I kind of liked it. It was a bit weird, a bit awkward. I love the visuals and the cover. Kind of gave you like these horror vibes. But yeah, it was a unique song and concept. But for some reason, he just, again, was on and off. He would drop songs here and there. And I believe that, yeah, sometime back in 2024, we would get a couple of new singles that were quote unquote supposed to be leading up to Don't Be Dumb. And I think the standout track out of that cycle was definitely Hijack featuring Jessica Pratt, if not mistaken. That song was genuinely just incredible. It's genuinely one of my favorite Rocky songs ever because I just love his energy. His energy is top notch. His flow is just incredible. It's very like just calculated and just like well delivered. Jessica Pratt's angelic vocals in the end, kind of like wrapping up the track, feels very natural. It's a song that's a bop that goes hard. You can play it like in the aux, yet you can play it like in any setting at the same time because of how angelic that second half was. I don't know, like my mind was blown away. I know that he has songs similar to that nature from his trilogy era and like definitely Testing. But that song specifically just kind of like, I don't know, just struck a chord with me. But anyway, Rocky unfortunately did not drop Don't Be Dumb back in 2024 where it was hinted that it was going to be released, and he also didn't release it in 2025. So it was a constant cycle of what the hell is going on with this album. People just started making fun of the album. They were like, okay, there really isn't an album. The album was probably the friends he made along the way. I know that Rocky dropped a couple of songs last year, but at that point, even his fans were like, should we even care at this point? I mean, is he really going to drop anything? So, yeah, I mean, it was just an entire time of just crisis. It genuinely was. But regardless, fast forward to this year, 2026, and Rocky finally dropped the album. He dropped two lead singles, actually, Punk Rocky, or is it Punky Rock, Punk Rocky, something like that, and Helicopter. I didn't like that much the Punk Rocky song where it has like the cover of like Papa Roca. I forgot the name of the damn thing. It's like the name of the game. That's for like a PlayStation 1 game where it's like this like mascot who's like rapping. Like you know what I'm trying to say. Like he took influence from that. But yeah, I wasn't a huge fan of that song. I just kind of felt like Sundress Part 2 or just something he's done in the past. I didn't find it to be that refreshing or interesting. The song Helicopter, despite it being kind of a typical Rocky song, I liked it actually more than I expected. when I rewinded and rewinded it, I was like just kind of mesmerized by how great his flow is and his performance. You could tell that Rocky is very amped up and he really wants to make this track the most hype it can be and to reel in the listeners to listen to the album. So anyway, fast forward now, as I said, the album dropped, and in my opinion, Don't Be Dumb it's fine. I mean, it's pretty good, but it's not like the album that we were expecting, in my opinion. The album starts off pretty strong with Order of Protection. I think this is a banger way to just open up the record. Rocky is sort of addressing the reasons as to why he's been back and forth with releasing this album, obviously due to his issues with the court, with the law, in terms of him I think he was almost going to get life, or at least a huge penalty for, I think, carrying a weapon, an illegal firearm. Of course, other things as well has been going on in that nature. And it's kind of him responding of like, hey, I'm back. This took a while because I wanted to make this album the best I can. And I've been going through some shit basically. And also I'm a father now. Like I literally have kids with somebody, like with Rihanna. So yeah, just kind of like a good way to address that thing. Plus I think his energy is explosive. The beat and instrumental is just really, really well put together. I think the track Still Your Flow is generally just incredible from start to finish. Again, the flow, no pun intended, is incredible. He's obviously throwing shots here at Drake and people who diss him. Since in the lines, he's like, you stole my flow, so I just stole you a bitch. Well, it's obviously reference to Drake because Drake dated Rihanna. I don't have to explain it, but you know what I'm trying to say. Followed up by the track Stay Here for Life featuring Brent Faiyaz, which at first I was like, I feel this is something I've already heard before, especially considering that they do have a song together. I think it was in that one album called Larger Than Life by Brent Faiyaz that dropped in 2023, and they have that one song, I forgot the name of it, but it was a very nice song. And I think that Rocky stole the show in that song. And it's funny because in this song, I think that Brent stole the show. I think his voice is so angelic, as usual. And just, I don't know, his cadence, the way he sings and pronounces stuff, just feels like so, like, I don't know, nice and just refreshing. And I don't know, I think the song is just, like, very nice, very just chill, very romantic. And I think Rocky's version here just meshes in pretty well, you know, just it's kind of a lovey-dovey song about like, hey, I want to stay here for life. It just feels like heaven when I'm with you. I wasn't that big of a fan of the song PLAYA featuring Thundercat, which is kind of crazy because whenever you hear the name Thundercat, you're supposed to get your mind blown away. But I didn't feel that much anything when listening to this song. I just felt like it was like Stay Here for Life Part 2. Like it was trying to be one of those like vibey songs, but I just didn't like Rocky's cadence or flow. Kind of felt a little bit awkward, if anything, and I felt like I've just heard this thing much better in previous Rocky stuff. The song No Trespassing is similar to the vein of Stole Your Flow, where it's eerie, it's in your face, explosive. Rocky's kind of going back and forth to the verse and hook, and the hook feels like super different in the verse. And I don't know, I think structurally speaking, this song is just like all over the place, but in a very good way, where it feels like he has like ADHD and he's like running all over, but his flow is just like for some reason still like incredible from start to finish on this song. The song Stop Snitching featuring Sauce Waka was another banger in my opinion. I think Sauce Waka's verse was genuinely incredible. I don't listen to a lot of Sauce Waka, so I'm not familiar with his material, but that verse that he put in, Jesus, man, he was not on planet Earth. Obviously, the entire song is about like Rocky saying, hey, like back in my day, like when you would snitch, you would have like consequences. Like it wasn't like praised, but nowadays everybody's snitching, everybody's violating the code, which, you know, to each their own. But I feel that, again, the performances, I'm probably going to say performances a billion times throughout this video because Rocky is known for that. But overall, this song was just really, really well put together. And again, like Sauce's feature verse, man, this guy just, that was one hell of a verse. So I guess coming back to the issues that I have with this album, because it kind of seems like I'm glazing it only. I think some of the issues that I have is that structure-wise, I feel that some of these songs are a bit too predictable. And sometimes it tries to be experimental, but it kind of fails, like really fails. Like, for example, the track STFU featuring Slay Squad. I generally really do not like the song at all. Like, I tried to get into it, and I just cannot for love of me. It generally just feels like, it feels kind of cringy listening to it. I'm sorry, but it just kind of does. I don't know, it just feels hard for me to kind of get in the mood to listen to a song like this. It's not that I don't like the type of genre that Rocky is trying to tackle, or the sound. It's just that it's just not his style. It's generally not his type of thing. And I feel that Slay Squad's verse kind of feels annoying and just doesn't mesh in well. Like, I know he probably has potential for something similar to this vein, but it just does not work well at all. The production, like, again, feels a bit more like it, literally the beat sounds like a Tekken type beat, something you would hear in a Tekken game. And I do not want to hear Rocky rapping over a Tekken type beat. Please, no. The track Robbery isn't bad. I think Adochi's verse is pretty solid, and I like the attempt and the concept within itself. Kind of a Bonnie and Clyde type of relationship. And I really enjoyed the sample, which I believe is Caravan from the Whiplash OST, which I love the OST, and Caravan is an amazing song. But I just don't think it really meshes into this album, especially considering this album. I mean, this song comes in before this. After the song "Whiskey Release Me" featuring Damon Albarn from Gorillaz and West Side Gun, that is a bit more explosive and a little bit more calm and tranquil towards the end. But it's like, one of those songs where it's like, this one was really a good one. It was starting to head more into a right direction. And then you get hit with Robbery, which it's just that loop over and over and over. And it's supposed to be then going on role playing back and forth, which is like, this is not what I want to listen to in a Rocky album at all. Again, I'll give Rocky credit for the attempt, but just not meshing well. The song Don't Be Dumb Trip Baby is not a bad song at all. I do enjoy some elements of it, especially Don't Be Dumb. The first half of it, and I generally thought Clans Casino produced this song, but apparently he did not. He denied that he produced this song, so I guess the rumors were false. But it generally feels like he did, because like just the airy beat, the sample chop where it's like kind of glitching, and I was like, oh shit, like Casino on this thing, like this is what I wanted from this album. But no, apparently he wasn't. But still, kind of a nice vibe in the first half, but the second half just feels like whatever. I mean, it doesn't really do Rocky any justice. Kind of feels like he's repeating the same type of thing that he's already gone through in this album, and you just kind of get to feel like fatigued of the same thing. The track Air Force, Black DeMarco featuring Spencer Sutherland, kind of puts you in that similar vein. It's not a bad song by any means, as I said, but it's just kind of like, I've already heard this like a couple of tracks before, at least something similar to it. Like, I think a huge problem that I have with this album is that Rocky kind of uses the same sound and style over and over and over and over. Like, even the songs that are pretty good, it's like something I've already heard before, either in testing or just earlier on this record. And that's what kind of like, I guess, that's what kind of like, I guess, at times makes me not want to keep on listening, because it's like, it's just going to be the same thing for like almost 17 more songs. Like, generally, I don't want to hear this thing 17 more times. We get it. We get the same flow and cadence, bro. And it kind of like makes me feel a little bit sad, because like you hear songs like Hijack or the one he dropped with Cole, and it's like, see, that had potential. Like, those were fun songs. So why isn't it on this album is my biggest question. Rocky finishes this album with the song The End featuring Jessica Pratt and William, which is a very weird pair, if anything, of this song. But it's basically Rocky kind of sending a final message saying like, hey, it's going to be the end if we don't do something about what's going on around us, if we're not, being exposed, if you're not being aware of what's going on around us. I'm assuming it's alluding to the title, Don't Be Dumb, Don't Be Stupid, Don't Be Naive, Be Aware. Just don't like be stuck on one thing. In this case, like, he's mentioning stuff like, I guess, being stuck in your cell phone, or just like, well, I think Jessica Pratt mentions it, of like just kind of like being like a zombie, just like staying there, not doing anything and not acting around you, which will cause a greater chaos in the future. There are consequences for doing nothing, which honestly, great message, but it's not the way I want this album to end. Like, I know that Rocky at times has deep moments. I mean, for example, Sandman was a very deep and dark and iconic song from A$AP Rocky's discography from his debut album, and I really appreciate it because it's just a really just beautiful song. But in terms of this album, he doesn't spend enough time to even set up something like this, where it's like apocalyptic and it's like, oh, this is like a dystopia, if anything. I don't know. It doesn't feel like it matches the vibe, nor does it like allude that it will be getting to that point. It just feels like Rocky addressing all the issues, addressing the people who called him out, calling them back out, and being like, oh, this album's a classic. I promise. This is why it took so much time. And the majority of the time is like just the same thing over and over, in my opinion. There are 2 bonus tracks in this album. SWAT Team, again, I have the same exact critiques. It just feels like the same rehash idea. But the song Fish and Steak, What It Is, featuring Josie and Tyler Creator, is actually a great song. I love Tyler's performance. I love Josie's performance. And I think that Rocky actually raps very well throughout the song. I love the way they trade bars and stuff. You know, it's great to know they still have a connection relationship. Even after these years. I mean, this is what the fans really wanted. They wanted to see them reunite. I know they did have a song together in the deluxe edition of Call Me If You Get Lost, but it's nice to see that, you know, Rocky also wants Tyler on his own album as well. But overall, as I was saying, the album isn't bad. I just personally feel that it's kind of a missed opportunity to expand or to do something else creatively speaking. I know he does try with, like I said, the song STFU, the Slay Squad, and some other moments, but it's just not enough. Like, it's either just not his style and doesn't mention it well at all, and it kind of feels a little bit awkward and cringy, or it just feels like something that we've technically heard before. Again, it's a passable album. I like it, but I don't love it. It's like far from being great in my opinion. I'll definitely revisit some of these songs, especially Stole Your Flow, for example, which is, again, incredible. But yeah, just kind of a bit of same old. I hope that if he drops another album in the future, which is kind of hard to believe, he actually tries to do something a bit more smoother in terms of switching it up, and maybe features that make a little bit more sense in terms of the context of the song. I don't know. This is my opinion. Of course, a lot of people seem to really enjoy the album, so I might be in the minority. But yeah, that's all I have to say. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like down below. Subscribe, turn notification bell on so it's an upload for me. And I would love to see what you guys think of this album. Should you guys love it? Should you guys hate it? You know, I know I always read your comments, so please let me know in the comments down below. Really interested to see what your opinion is about the album. But yeah, see you guys next time. Peace out, everyone, and listen to Don't Be Dumb.